Good morning, everybody, and it's our morning conversation. And today I have Trinity's wonderful choir director and oftentimes soloist, Tara Beitzel. Hi, Tara.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. Tara has been at Trinity. Wow. How long have you been here now?
Um, I think it's been since 2014.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Terry and I started attending in 2014, and then I think in the fall of 2014 is when I became the adult choir director.
Oh, okay. Good, good. I have to laugh. Every time I do these, I ask people how long they've been here, and it's always like, it can't be more than 2 or 3 years. I look at you, I say, oh, it's 2 or 3 years. But then, of course,
Sure.
I remember how many Christmases have we celebrated together,
I know.
worked on and done. So I know it's more. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a wonderful gift that you share with us at Trinity, with both as a director and as a vocalist. And it kind of made me want to talk to you today because we look at the Bible verses we're going to use for the sermon coming up.
Hmm.
And
Sure.
this week we're looking at this wonderful passage in Joel. And like in a lot of the prophetic passages, you hear all the gloom and doom, the mud and the blood, the mud and the blood and the beer, as Andy Griffin would have said, about what's going to happen to Israel because they haven't been very good. Um, but there's always a wonderful promise too. And in Joel, it's one of the most wonderful passages in scripture where Joel promises, God promises through Joel, that there's going to be a time of plenty, that there'll be a restoration, that there'll be this time when your young people will see visions and your old people will dream dreams. And when I hear language like that, I think of, I actually think of the arts, because visions and dreams, that's kind of the stuff the arts are made of, and they speak to that part of us. And I think they speak to us of God in a way that's almost beyond words. And
Mhm.
I thought of you because of your music, and now you've been in music a long time in your life, right?
Yes, yes. I have been singing probably ever since I could talk,
Yeah.
and started off singing in church and taking piano lessons and did the high school musicals and sang. Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I
and
could.
and went into college with all that, right?
I did, yes. I went to Gettysburg College and started out as a music major,
Mhm.
and then I decided to pursue more education, not necessarily music education. And so I still have a lot of training, and took, I still take voice lessons, even today. But yeah, my career path changed a little bit.
So you're especially special ed right now, right?
I am, yes, yes. So I teach special ed now.
Mhm.
And I had been an elementary special ed teacher. And for about the last 10, 11 years, I've been teaching special education to 3 and 4 year olds. And so I do get to use a little bit more music in my instruction.
Right.
Music is a great way to teach young children. And so I still can use it. But my church job is what allows me to have music be more at the forefront.
Well, you have a really great story about how the church job worked into your life. Do you want to tell it? You mind telling it?
Sure, sure, sure. So, so just to give you a little bit of context of kind of what I was going through, up at the point when I was offered the position to be the choir director. In 2011, my dad had a subdural hematoma, which is a brain bleed, and it caused a traumatic brain injury. And so kind of like a light switch, one day my sister and I found ourselves being his caretakers, and we had to put him into a nursing home, and it was a traumatic time for us. um, and then about 9 months later, Terry and I decided to get married, and so that was great. And we were excited to be starting our life together. And we had just moved into a really nice townhouse in Mount Joy, and we were excited to start a family. And at this point, I was in my later 30s, so I knew my biological clock was ticking, and I was, ready to get started as soon as we could. But about 6 months after we got married, one Saturday morning, we woke up and everything seemed normal. And Terry and I were chatting, and all of a sudden, he started, like, words weren't coming out. He was trying to talk to me, but it was just like sounds. And I knew that something neurologic, like something major, was happening to him. And so we went to the ER and found out that he was suffering from a stroke. He was having a stroke, and it was affecting the language portion of his brain.
Okay.
And it was caused by a heart infection. A piece of the infection had actually broken off and gone to his brain.
Wow.
And because the infection was so severe, he had to have open heart surgery. We found ourselves in another, health crisis.
Right.
And
That took a while to heal up, I would think.
yes. So for about two years, almost close to 2 years, Terry was out of work and going through rehab, and he wanted to get back to work. He's also a teacher, and that was his major goal. So that's what we were focused on, was getting him better and getting him back. And so finally, at the point where we were ready to, Terry was starting back at work, and we felt like, okay, now we can try to get back on track and start our family. But by this point, I am like months away from turning 40, and I knew that it, was not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to be a mother, and that's, more important to me than even any kind of career goals or any other goal in life has been to have a child. And so we started to try, and we weren't successful. And so we went to a fertility specialist and started all of the testing and that whole process. And I was told that in order to be able to have a child, the kind of treatment that we would have to pursue was incredibly expensive, and almost felt like a deterrent, like almost felt like, oh my goodness, I don't know how we're going to be able to do this.
Right.
So I was feeling devastated, because it was a dream that I had, and I really wasn't sure if we were going to be able to do it. And even if we could come up with the funding to be able to do the treatments, then you still only have like a 30 or 40% chance of having a successful pregnancy. So it was very daunting, but I knew from the other things that I had gone through in my life that I knew that God would always be with me, and I knew, that I could cling on to the hope of being a mother.
And your spirituality was carrying you through, in other words.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Sure.
So because I was going through this rough time, I was seeking counseling, and I was in my counselor's office and saying to her, I don't know what we're going to do, and I'm so upset. And there was one appointment in particular when I remember coming out to my car, and I checked my email.
Sure.
And I hope I'm not repeating myself. I
Yeah.
don't think I mentioned this. A few months before this appointment, I had applied for, there was a choir, the children's choir director position was open, and I applied for it, and I wasn't selected for that position. But I had moved on and hadn't thought about it. And I get this email from you asking me if I was interested in becoming the adult choir director.
Right.
And it was just a moment of like perfect timing. And I felt like, God was reaching his hand out to me and saying, I'm here, and it's going to be okay.
Right.
And here's something for you, to help a little bit financially,
Right.
but also most importantly help you spiritually, and help you bring music back to your forefront in your life, and give me a creative outlet, and also use my gifts to provide a worship experience and contribute to the worship experience.
It's a really beautiful story. I mean, one, you feel like the hand of God reaching into your life a little bit and saying, okay, well, here's a little bit of help. Obviously, the part-time choir director at Trinity doesn't make tens of thousands, but at least a little bit of help.
Right.
But more importantly, the way it buoyed you spiritually. And I know for me and for a lot of us, the arts do that. They give us the strength of God somehow. God communicates that, and I know that helped you from our other conversations in the past. That's helped you to get through the whole in vitro experience and pregnancy experience, etc.
Yes, absolutely. And what I didn't anticipate also from the choir position was how much it helped me through the in vitro fertilization process. IVF is a very bumpy road, and we experienced a lot of disappointments, and
Sure.
treatments that didn't take, and a miscarriage, and um but luckily with music, I was able to use that to really help me through the process, and give me something else to focus on, and a source of hope and support through it.
Right. And now you have Finn.
And now I have Finn, exactly. And I also had had my music to get me through the experience of once we were pregnant and very excited.
Right.
Finn ended up coming early, and he was born at,
Yes.
just to make our lives more interesting, he was born at 33 weeks and spent some time in the NICU, but he has done extremely well and developed normally, and now he's a super active, energetic 4-year-old. So
Right. Right. And now you sing songs to calm yourself when he gets into something, right?
exactly right.
Well, thank you for telling your story. It's truly one of those stories when you think of hopes and dreams, and God gave you a hope and a dream and helped, I think, with that. I know that not all stories end this way. Infertility is something
Mhm.
that many folks struggle with. It doesn't always end in the way yours did. But I know, knowing you, I know if yours hadn't, you would have taken the love you have and you would have shared it with kids and adults, and it would have been incredibly meaningful. Not that you don't do that already, but you know,
Right.
God, I think, gives us, as they say, when God closes a window, a door, he opens a window. So that would have happened for you.
Absolutely. And I always, I mean, I feel extra blessed that I was able to be pregnant with Finn, and have him. But I've always felt like I was going to find a way to be a mother
Right.
in any way. It didn't matter if it was, through adoption or fostering, or a mother to my students. I was going to figure out a way to make it happen. So
Well, thank you, Tara.
yeah.
Awesome story, and looking forward to the time you can sing in church. So
Yes.
we can
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too, and singing together with the choir. Yeah, I think we're all missing it greatly. So
ready to put a tune to those hopes and visions.
right, right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. And thank you again, Tara. And you all have a great day. Take care.